All right, folks, the plot continues to thicken. Breaking news. There is a report out now that Lisa Cook's lawyer suggesting that an unintentional clerical error may be behind this mortgage dispute. Now, of course, Lisa Cook, she's Fed governor, officially filing a lawsuit against President Trump, challenging her removal from office. A judge is set to hear this case tomorrow. I want to bring in Trescent's chief economist, Daniel Lacalle. And Daniel, it's just, we're in uncharted territory here, uncharted waters. But let me start first and foremost just on the ability of the president of the United States. Now, it's felt to me that the Supreme Court ruling recently that sort of shielded the chair did not shield other folks who work at the Federal Reserve. What's your understanding of what the president can do here?
Well, I think it's pretty clear. I think that everybody can read, and it's very simple, that the president can and has, if he has grounds, can fire those Fed governors that are not complying with the very strict ethic guidelines that the Federal Reserve imposes. And by the way, the most important factor here is that with what we're reading from the lawyers, etc., is that she should resign. Is what we have seen in the past, is that there is absolutely no evidence that the president cannot fire one of the Fed governors.
Yeah, right now downtown in Lower Manhattan at one of these court buildings, there's a whole lot of people telling the judge, I didn't know, it was an accident, it was a mistake, and they're still ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And of course, maybe she wasn't ignorant of the law, but the clerical error thing, I don't think passes the smell test. The notion that it's not just cause, doesn't seem to be up for interpretation, certainly from the Fed. And this is what I think is happening here, because when Lisa Cook was pushed for the job a few years ago, there was a massive showdown between Elizabeth Warren and Janet Yellen. And she challenged Yellen. She said, you have to stop. Why do you only hire white men for Fed governors? And then when the job came up, by the way, the job that was vacated was because you had Elizabeth Warren pushing out Clarida. She pushed him out. They pushed out 3 Fed officials over insider trading. Okay, fine. They left with dignity, and they kept the institution intact. And so it all has come back full circle. And so it just feels like this is more about politics than the Federal Reserve. But I'm worried that the Federal Reserve and its integrity, the little that it has left, will vanish.
Absolutely. This is all about politics. Let's start with the hiring. This is a person that has no track record of having written anything about monetary policy prior to being a Fed governor. On top of that, what we know is that what her lawyers are saying is that if she made errors, they were not made to create any harm, and that there was no materiality. That doesn't mean anything. If I park in a disabled area, I'm still going to get a ticket. That says absolutely nothing. And more importantly, every single decision in the past coming from Democrat politicians has been to force any type of resignation that they could get from those people that even touched the possibility of having any type of insider activity or any type of conduct that goes against the ethic guidelines. Right. And that's the most important thing. The ethic guidelines say that she should resign with the evidence that the lawyers have today published.
So Jay Powell, after the insider trading scandal, put forth rules that prohibited the Fed officials from trading the market. But many said that he did that to keep his job, to be renominated, and indeed he was renominated. So it's problematic in my mind that he's sort of waiting this out in a bunker somewhere instead of taking leadership here.
Absolutely, because ultimately what we need to understand is that also when they say that there is no materiality, of course there is materiality. How many U.S. citizens have been able to go and get a cheaper mortgage because they have said that their second home is their principal residence? Obviously, very few, actually nobody. And if anybody did, obviously that is not going to be something that provides to the public the idea that Fed governors are not just just doing what they should do, but
Right.
also that they appear to be doing what they should do.
Having said all of these things, we only have 30 seconds left. There was a major shift in thinking from the Fed chair last week. Do you think that the next Fed chair will be able to pick up on that and make some real massive changes within the Federal Reserve that serve the public, the general public, not just the banks?
Absolutely, they have to do. Absolutely, because what Federal Reserve guidelines need to be focused on is on looking at monetary aggregates and looking at data, not following narratives. And what the Fed has been doing since 2021 is following narratives, saying first that inflation was transitory when there was absolutely no evidence of it, saying that it was due to supply chain disruptions instead of the massive money printing and huge government spending. So what we need to have is a Fed president and a group of Fed officials that pay attention to monetary aggregates and data, not to narratives.
Yeah, and no more scandals for sure. Daniel, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Charles.
All right.
Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, leave your comments below, and keep defending freedom. Thank you very much.